Hey everyone! Before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to join my channel and stay updated with more content like this. I was idling in my car outside the office, the drone of passing vehicles fading into the exhaustion of a long day, when my phone lit up with Grandma's name. A smile tugged at my lips. Her calls were infrequent, but always filled with warmth. I picked up eagerly, anticipating a cozy chat about her roses or her latest book club pick. "Celine, honey," her voice came through, gentle yet tinged with concern. "How are you holding up? Are you feeling any better?" My forehead creased. "Better, Grandma? I'm perfectly fine. What's wrong?" A heavy pause followed, the kind that warns you something big is coming. "Your parents said you've been really sick. That's why you missed Damien's wedding." Her words landed like a blow to the chest. My stomach knotted, fingers gripping the steering wheel, though the car was still. "What wedding?" Her breath caught, filling the quiet between us. "Your brother's wedding, dear, last weekend." I stared out the windshield, my reflection in the glass looking like someone I didn't know. My brother had gotten married. The family had come together, laughed, celebrated, snapped photos, while I sat in this very car, completely unaware. They told everyone I was too ill to show up. They hadn't even told me there was an event to show up for. Grandma's voice quivered. "Oh, Celine, you really didn't know." I forced words out, my throat tight. "No, Grandma, I had no idea." For a moment, we were both silent. My heartbeat thundered, filling the void. Then Grandma sighed, her tone heavy with sorrow. "I don't know why they do this, but you deserve to know." We said our goodbyes, her worry lingering in my ears, unsoothable. The call ended. I sat there, phone dangling in my hand, the world outside unchanged while mine shattered. It wasn't just the wedding. It was the stark realization of something I'd dodged my whole life. To my family, I was invisible, dispensable. The steering wheel felt icy under my hands as I finally turned the key. My parents hadn't just excluded me, they'd lied, wiped me from their story, and carried on like I didn't exist. I drove home in a fog, a question already searing my mind, demanding answers. At my apartment, I tossed my bag onto the couch and sank into the quiet, Grandma's call looping in my head. My brother had married, and I hadn't been told. This wasn't an oversight. It was a pattern woven through years. Growing up, Damien was the family son. His baseball games consumed our Saturdays, Dad, Richard, bellowing from the bleachers like each swing was a world event, Mom, Evelyn, clapping like every score was divine. My piano recitals or debate tournaments, they got half-hearted nods, if that. The same tilt carried into our adult years. Damien picked law school, instantly becoming the golden hope of the Callaway legacy. Dad bragged to anyone who'd listen about his son debating legal giants who'd mentored judges. My promotion to project director, earned through years of grit, barely pulled Dad's eyes from the sports page. The condo I bought last year, my first real home, was brushed off as a starter. Mom toured it once, offering a polite smile while noting Damien and his fiancée were eyeing a grander townhouse by the river. Her warmth was for show, saved for church or community gatherings where she'd present me with practiced pride. At home, she rarely asked about my life beyond whether I'd finally found someone. Damien soaked it up, smirking across the dinner table when Dad pitted his successes against my supposed failures. Every family talk revolved around him, his cases, his trips, his future. I'd learned to shrink, to be the dependable but forgettable daughter. But alone in my apartment that night, something broke. Their silence about Damien's wedding wasn't just another snub. It was proof I wasn't even in their frame. I wasn't sure I could keep playing along. Sitting on my bed, still rattled by Grandma's call, I opened Instagram, something I rarely used. I needed to know if Grandma was mistaken, if maybe it was a small gathering I wasn't meant for. The first photo killed that hope. Damien stood under a lavish arch of white roses, his tailored suit sharp, his bride radiant in lace, her veil shimmering like crystal in the sun. Dad walked him down the aisle, beaming like it was his own victory. I scrolled, my throat tightening. There was Mom, tears streaking her face during the vows. Reception photos showed chandeliers, silk-draped tables, A cake that likely cost more than my mortgage payment. Faces I knew filled the frames. Childhood neighbors, cousins from 3 states away. Dad's golf pals, mom's book club friends. People I hadn't seen in years were toasting, smiling. I was nowhere. This wasn't a small ceremony. It was a grand affair, 100 guests or more. They'd invited nearly everyone they knew, except me. My stomach twisted as I scrolled. Each image was a fresh cut. Damien dancing, Mom laughing, Dad giving a speech, champagne in hand. Their joy was untouched by guilt, as if I'd never belonged among them. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a mix-up. It was intentional. I set the phone down, staring into the dim room, a heavy truth settling over me. I hadn't been forgotten. I'd been erased, and I needed to know why. The drive to my parents' house was a blur of streetlights and rage. My hands ached from gripping the wheel, but I didn't loosen my hold. When I reached their driveway, I didn't knock. I pushed the door open, my anger a living thing. Celine. Mom's voice drifted from the kitchen. She stepped into view, wiping her hands on a towel, her smile fading when she saw me. It's not Sunday. What's wrong? You know what's wrong. I snapped, sharper than I meant. Why wasn't I invited to Damien's wedding? Her face paled. She opened her mouth, then closed it, grasping for an excuse. Finally, she mumbled, "We thought you wouldn't like a big event. You've never been into those." My laugh was sharp, bitter. You decided for me. You cut me out of my brother's wedding because you assumed I wouldn't enjoy it. Dad's footsteps approached. Richard appeared from the living room, irritated. What's with the shouting? I faced him. Tell me why I wasn't invited. He glanced at Mom, then at me, jaw tight. You want the truth? Damien's got his act together. He's a lawyer, successful, marrying someone on his level. You being there? You'd have looked out of place. The words cut deep, stealing my breath for a moment. Damien's voice came from the stairs. He sauntered down, adjusting his cufflinks. Honestly, Celine, it would have been weird. You don't fit in that world. Something in me shattered. Then don't expect an invite to mine. Silence hung for a moment. Dad chuckled, dismissive. Get real. You'll never get married. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. I walked out, their laughter trailing me into the night, vowing they'd regret doubting me. The night after the confrontation, I lay awake in my condo, their words looping. Pathetic. Out of place. Never getting married. The irony stung. They knew so little about me, yet judged my worth like they had all the facts. They never asked about my job, never noticed the late nights I poured into work. When I became project director, I toasted alone with wine. I'd wanted to share the news at Sunday dinner, but Damien cut in with another story, and my moment vanished. My condo, my first true home, earned through years of effort, was called a starter. They never visited again after that first tour. Damien's townhouse was impressive, they said, but what they really didn't know was Julian. We met in college, 2 friends surviving exams together. Life split us for years until we reconnected at my current company, where he was already a leader, sharp and confident. Later, I learned his father owned the firm, a name that carried weight across the city's boardrooms. Julian never flaunted it. He valued my drive, respected my independence, and loved me in a way my family never had. 6 months ago, he proposed. I'd worn his ring daily since, unnoticed by my family. When I told him about the confrontation, he took my hand and said, "We choose who gets to be in our lives." His words grounded me, letting me see a future without them. Planning our wedding became a quiet joy. Julian's mother suggested a New England estate with ivy-draped walls and dreamlike gardens. His family offered to cover costs, wanting the day to be perfect without stress. For the first time in months, I imagined walking down an aisle where I was truly wanted. We kept the guest list small, 30 names. Grandma, my constant light, my aunt and cousins, the only relatives who showed up for me without strings, and a few friends who saw me as someone worth celebrating. It wasn't about size, it was about belonging. Still, the question nagged. Should I invite my parents? Their laughter. Dad's claim I'd never marry. Damien's smirk, all too raw. I couldn't let them taint my day. Then Mom called. Celine, she said, Breathless, Grandma mentioned something. Are you getting married? Please, we're your parents, we should be there. Her words once held weight, but now they felt empty. You made my place in this family clear at Damien's wedding, I said evenly. I'm not opening that door just because it suits you now. She gasped, then whispered, You'll regret this. I hung up, my chest tight but my resolve firm. The wedding would happen without them, and maybe, for the first time, so would I. Word spread fast. I hadn't told my parents, but family gossip travels like wildfire. Within days, Damien called. So, it's true, he said, no greeting, voice laced with amusement. You're getting married. Where? A backyard cookout? The local VFW. I didn't bite, my silence enough. He laughed and hung up, his jab lingering like a bad smell. Days later, I overheard my parents during a call with Grandma, her phone accidentally on speaker. Dad muttered, She probably can't afford anything real. Maybe a courthouse with fake flowers. Mom's softer voice cut deeper. It's embarrassing. Damien's wedding was an event. Hers will be small. I ended the call politely, but their words burrowed deep. For the first time since Julian's proposal, doubt crept in. Would my wedding compare? Would it seem lesser, proving their beliefs? That night, Julian found me at the kitchen table, scrolling through photos of grand receptions. He rested his hands on my shoulders. You're thinking about them, aren't you? I tried to brush it off, but my tears gave me away. What if they're right? What if our day looks like a shadow of his? Julian lifted my chin, meeting my eyes. They'll never get what we're creating. Our wedding isn't about flash. It's about us, the people who matter. That's worth more than any chandelier. His words steadied me. I wasn't chasing their approval. I was building something they couldn't diminish. The estate glowed like a fairy tale. Lanterns swayed in the trees, fairy lights traced stone arches, and gardens shimmered under the twilight. As I walked down the aisle, Grandma's tear-streaked smile glowed with pride. My aunt clasped her hands, as if this moment was her dream, too. Julian's gaze held mine, and for the first time in years, I felt truly seen. Not as a daughter or sister, but as myself, worthy and loved. Our vows drowned out the world, though I heard my cousin's soft sniffles. It was the intimacy I'd always wanted but never thought I'd have. Dinner unfolded in the garden under twinkling lights. My aunt's speech, voice cracking, spoke of resilience and love's quiet strength. My cousins fussed over my dress, took photos, made me laugh until my face hurt. I thought I'd feel their absence, but there was only peace. Their empty chairs didn't belong here. Their absence was a gift. Later, my cousins posted photos online. I didn't mind, I wasn't hiding. Those images would travel, and I knew Richard, Evelyn, and Damien would see them. The wedding they said I'd never have. The life they claimed I couldn't build, thriving without them. The morning after, my phone erupted. Missed calls, voicemails, texts from my parents and Damien, each angrier than the last. Evelyn accused me of betrayal, writing essays about a daughter's duty. Richard was sharper, saying I'd shamed them by marrying into influence without including them, that country club tongues were wagging. Then came Evelyn's public posts, painting herself as the heartbroken mother, abandoned by her ungrateful daughter. She claimed Dad's heart broke not walking me down the aisle. Strangers offered sympathy, blind to the truth. I could have ignored it, but Julian's father didn't. He called me into his office, face stern. This stops now, he said. That night, he called my parents. I didn't hear the full talk, but he warned that if they didn't stop, he'd expose their exclusion of me from Damien's wedding. The posts vanished. The calls ceased. Silence at last. It didn't last. Months later, HR handed me a resume. Damien's, listing me as a reference, as if our past was nothing. I declined. 2 days later, he showed up at my apartment, voice loud. You're my sister. You're supposed to help. I met his eyes, calm. Family helps family. Where was that when you shut me out? His face twisted, but I stood firm. He left empty-handed. Months later, my life found a steady rhythm. When I learned I was pregnant, joy filled the old wounds. I told only Grandma at first. She cried, her voice shaking with excitement. You'll be an amazing mother, Celine, she said, and I believed her. Weeks later, a package arrived. tiny knitted booties, and a photo of Evelyn with yarn in her lap. No note, just a silent gesture, an olive branch dressed as sentiment. Soon after, Evelyn posted online, gushing about becoming a grandmother to both her children's babies, as if our history was erased. Strangers congratulated her, praising the family's joy. I stared at the screen, my stomach tight. Maybe she meant peace, or maybe it was another act, claiming me publicly while ignoring what was broken. The truth weighed heavy. I didn't know if they could change, but I knew I wouldn't bend. I wouldn't grant them access to my child just because of blood. If they wanted a place in this life, they'd have to earn it. I closed the laptop, hand resting on the gentle curve of my belly. I finally understood what my family never taught me. Blood ties you, but love and respect make a family. And I was done accepting less.